If you've ever felt too intuitive, too awake, or too curious for the life you're living, you might just be one of us.
Yeah, so welcome to Midlife with Mystics and Misfits, where we talk about intuition, reinvention, and the beautiful chaos of becoming who you truly are. I'm Cece.
And I'm Jen.
Hi, girl.
Hello, beautiful friend. How are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm so well. I'm so well. I have been getting, and I know that we kind of talked about this yesterday, but I have been getting so many beautiful messages from people about the podcast, about what it's doing for them. And I know you have gotten some too, yeah?
Oh, yes. It's heartwarming.
It really is. And one kind of stuck with me, it was yesterday, and I reached out to you, and it was, how did you come here? Like, how did you get to this place? And so I was like, Cece, do you want to talk about this?
I
So
was
I
like,
thought today
yes,
we
I
could talk.
do.
So I thought today we could like maybe chat about where we came from and how we got to where we are and doing, this crazy thing called life in the chapters we're currently living.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Are you
Yes, I love
are you
that.
up for the baby Cece and how she got here?
Sure, how far back do you want me to go?
Back to 1942.
Oh, man. I
Yeah, so
probably had a life then.
well, we did. And so, basically, it just got me really just trying to figure out, like, I know the switch. I know when this kind of life or the chapter that I'm in started and the discomfort of it. But
Mhm.
I was thinking back to even like, yeah, childhood. And, how did I remove myself so far from my intuition? And were there signs? I know that we've talked a little bit about me and you, and your family was very different than mine in this kind of mystic, intuitive energy.
Yes.
So yours was, remind everybody, what was it like? What was it like growing up in your house?
Growing up in my house, so I was the youngest of 6. There was 3 girls and 3 boys.
Hmm.
My oldest brother and I, we had 15 years between us. So there was quite a distance between myself and the oldest of the family.
Right.
And the 2 above me were brothers. So that I was the last of the family, but I was the last girl. So
Right.
my 2 oldest that I was closest uh to in relation of like, hanging out and playing with and stuff were my brothers.
Yeah.
So I was actually quite a tomboy when I was growing up. And and then my one sister, she pretty much raised me. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so it was yeah, I grew up living outside. And I think probably that's a lot of our generation. We all
Yeah.
lived growing up outside, but outside was my absolute happy place.
Mm.
So, like, I remember being super little and being very connected to the elements and being very connected to the trees and the wind. And we had these big 4 beautiful maples in our backyard that I think my grandparents had planted. And
Mm.
they were like 40 years old by the time I was little. So they were massive. And I
Right.
remember just laying underneath of them and feeling the energy of them, feeling the energy of the grass, feeling the energy of the wind. They'd have those little seeds that would fall down at a certain time of year. Like, I
Yeah.
remember being so interconnected with all of that at a very young age.
That is so crazy. So, because I hear that and I don't remember a lot of my childhood, but what I do remember is being outside all the time because we all were, but I don't think
Yeah.
I was aware of the joy or the connectedness of me and the elements. And so, was it something that was like fostered and talked about in your family?
Not at all. No, that was just for me,
Oh,
that was just innate. Yeah, that was just my knowing even from a
Mm.
very, very young age that I was connected to all of the elements.
Okay. So
Yeah.
'cause that was what I was like, I'm trying to differentiate because I never had any conversations in our family about intuition or listening to your inner gut or, any kind of what I know you have told your children, and I know what I have told my both my students
Yeah.
and my children,
Yeah.
in terms of the elements and the interconnectedness of us with them. I mean, I used to teach
Yes.
outdoor education. This was something that I
Ooh,
really strongly believe in. But um, so I know that okay, so that I didn't know we were that similar. So we both had
yes.
families where it wasn't really discussed. And so where was that hmm, that feeling of there's something to this. There's like something that I shouldn't know, or something about, uh, this inner knowing. Did you have that kind of moment where was this like, I can't deny this anymore?
I knew, yes, I knew I had that inner knowing. I was probably, I'm going to say I was 18, maybe 19, when I
Mm,
really fully understood that I was a different than the rest of the family.
right.
Um, I mean, I got to give props to my one brother. My one brother, Curtis, he was like the gypsy of the family. So he was like, he was always into very different things. So he exposed me to a lot of different things. So he exposed me to a lot of energy work, massage therapy from a very young age. So
Ah,
he was a little bit of a mentor to me in that regards. But when I was about 18, what's the book? You and I had talked about it before. It's back from when I was that age.
mm.
Oh, the Celestine prophecies.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had gotten a hold of that when cassette tapes and headphones were a thing, right? The little yellow cassette tape thing. And so I had bought the book and it came with the little cassette tape of the meditation and everything. It was when I read that and I had listened to that meditation when I knew I had abilities and like this knowing
Mm,
of the universe being bigger than what all this was.
right. Yeah, and so that because I just keep relating it back to me in that you are so far ahead of where I was. This poor kid who grew up in, a single parent family and, mom never home, not working. And so there was
You
no
had stuff to
mentor.
navigate. Yeah.
That's where I had real life to survive.
Yes, you
Yeah.
did.
And
Yes.
so
I was
yeah, like I
pampered
no, you
to a
weren't. You
degree.
had
To a
we all have
degree.
our own kind of struggles, but, I always knew that I was different. So I knew that I was really, crowds overwhelmed me,
Oh,
and I used to right? I used to
yes.
think I was like, maybe I got a touch of I call it a touch of it's probably not appropriate, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I used to say, "I think I have a touch of the ism," like, I think autism, although it was not
Right?
something ever really that wasn't,
That wasn't talked
something
about. No.
no.
Yeah,
And I was like, because I
exactly.
would get overwhelmed and I knew I needed a lot of alone time to recharge. It was something that
Yes.
yes. And so that
Yes.
very always you're so sensitive. Why like I was joking. Why are you being and knowing things I
I
didn't know?
yeah, I got made
Right?
fun of that. My whole
Y-
life I got made fun of. You're too sensitive, right?
Yes. And so I wonder
Like,
if people are like who are listening to this can resonate going, yes, yes, all of the yes, right?
yeah,
It's
tell us if you are one of those people. Did you share that with us?
yes, we want to know and other things that you knew you just didn't fit in, like knowing things I shouldn't know. So there was along the way there was lots of those kinds of situations, but again, I'm very logical and I need a lot of proof. And so I think for me it was this feeling of always the struggle, right? Needing to be that kind of logical devil's advocate, reading too much into it. And I didn't read any books and I didn't come the universe not that I can remember, didn't bring people or experiences in to be that glaring moment, but,
Yeah.
I remember one story that I knew I couldn't turn around after that. There was
Mm.
2, but the very first one, I was, early 20s, I wanna say, and I was dating this man and I knew he was going to propose because the phone calls that people are going to call you, you think of them and all of a sudden the phone rings.
Oh, yeah.
We do that all the time, you
All
and
the
I.
time. All the
um
time.
and and they'll say things that I was just thinking. My mom called me 2 days ago and was like, hey, do you want to go to Mandarin when I come down on March break? And my girls and I started laughing because we literally had had that conversation an hour before she called.
Oh my god, I
It
love
was
that.
so crazy. Yeah. So, this man I was dating, and we had done this beautiful cross country trip, and I knew he was going to propose. I knew it, and I had said to him, "Listen, please don't propose." I think I don't. If he's listening, I'm really sorry. But I had said, I am too young. I am not ready. I am enjoying the relationship, and if this happens, it feels like I'm going to have to make a decision that I might not want to make just because I'm not quite ready.
Yeah,
Lovely, lovely man. And so absolutely not going to, nope, I was crazy. I made me think I was crazy. And, I just kept getting this more and more like sick and nauseous as we were heading out towards PEI. And I was like,
because you were like,
I know something's going to
"I
happen.
know
I
you're
know.
lying."
Anyway, so then I don't know what happened. We had pulled over. We were staying at like a family members, and we had one of those RVs that you could like roll up, the pop-up trailer things, right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
were
Yeah, yeah,
literally
yeah.
going cross country in this really cool adventure. And I literally walked to it was his coat pocket. And so I don't know what it was. I picked up the coat pocket, I put my hand in it, and there was the box of the ring.
No
So
way.
I knew exactly what was happening. I knew where the ring was, and so I was like, listen, I think you're trying to be romantic. I was like, please don't do this. Anyway, it that was the last vacation we went on. But that
But
was, I knew, like, how did I know? And
right.
my gut was screaming at me like, no, you
Did
need to.
you recognize it, though? That it was your intuition at the time, or did it take you a
No.
bit?
I had had those my whole life, reading
Okay.
people, or
Yeah.
and so many times I've been able to know my gut is saying don't, and I still do it because logically, why wouldn't I? And then I always bites me in the ass, and I'm like, Jesus, I knew not to do that, right? Or
Always.
not
Yes, we've
always.
talked about that. Always. It always happens like that.
It's always, and so, yeah, so that was my first, and I don't think I really dug into the why, but I knew. And so I started trusting my gut a little bit more.
Ooh, I love
But I
that.
thought it was my gut. It wasn't connected to any divine or any kind of spirituality kind of connection.
Right.
What
Right,
about
right.
you? Did you ever have one of those glaring, holy smokes, I shouldn't have known that, or
I've probably had a billion of them in my lifetime.
mhm,
Um, and you know what? I say that my family wasn't like that, but I have a feeling my mom was like that. I have a
mm,
feeling my mom had the intuition,
mm,
but being born after World War II and just that lifestyle, and I mean, I heard what my grandparents were like, and that would have been something never talked about. So
mhm,
she had said things to me through my lifetime that ended up being true that I never wanted to admit that she was right on. So I
right,
think she did have that. So I think she showed that to me in a way that she didn't even know that she had. But yeah, I've
mm.
had glaring ones. Do you want like the craziest, most like insane fun one?
Give it
Do
to
you
me.
do you do you want that story? Hopefully our audience wants that story. This
Yes,
is gonna
yes,
be
we do.
like another welcome. This is Cease's life.
You know
So
what? I call it, I think we've called them mystic moments, you know?
they are 100% mystical
Yeah,
moments, and you
yeah.
either believe it or you don't.
Then the question is it intuition or is it, like, crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
insanity. Is
Well,
it intuition or insanity?
this is both because the intuitional hits kept coming and coming and coming, even though I
Yeah,
kept ignoring it and ignoring it.
yeah.
And the outcome of the whole entire thing was like the bizarrest weekend I had ever had. It led to the bizarrest weekend I had ever had.
Okay,
It was
okay.
like, it tied in all of my abilities that weekend from
Mm,
coming from a place of intuition. It
mhm,
screamed all of my abilities. So it screamed me being able to see spirit. It made me see hear spirit, like it was everything all in combined because my intuition screamed and I didn't listen.
mm.
So here's the story. Buckle up, people. Um, a g
Let me let me get my tea.
Buckle up. Yeah, I'm gonna spill the tea. Um, uh, so there was a group of there was a group of us, and we had an event to go to. So this was like a team of mine that I had in a previous part of my life, and
Okay.
we were all very close knit. So there was I had quite a big team, but there was 6 of us that had to go to this event, and it was in the Banff Springs Hotel.
Okay.
And I mean, you're from Ontario, so you might not know much about the Banff Springs Hotel, but this hotel is extremely expensive
Okay.
and it's very old.
Mm,
Like, I'm talking, she's a castle, she's ancient.
mhm,
So it's not the first time that we had all been there, and it probably wouldn't be the last time we had all been there. But this specific time, my intuition was screaming at me, you don't want to go. Don't
mm,
go. And I was like, my logical brain's like, I have to go.
mhm,
I'm the head of this entire little group. I
mhm,
have to go. And so um the 6 of us made a pact that we would split a room that had 2 queen beds, and
okay.
then 2 people would bring sleeping bags and we would sleep on the floor. So there was going to be 6 of us crammed into one little room because it was so expensive.
Mhm, mhm,
And I was always the first to get everywhere. And that particular day that we had to go check in, I was the last to show up with one of the friends that I was going with. Completely unlike me, but I just did not wanna go. I did not wanna be there because it was screaming, "Don't go." So we get there, we get up to the room, and so we go up the elevator. So the energy in this place, if you're an intuitive, like, when you come out here, I'll take you,
okay.
is already off the charts. Like, it's already you're heightened, you can see stuff, like, it's all over the place. So we get up to this floor of the room, and there's lots of stories to go around a few of the floors on in this place. And we walk down the hallway, and I'm already feeling uneasy, like, more uneasy. Every step I get closer to our room, I'm like, "Ugh, I do not wanna be here." I
Mm,
open the door with the key, and I walk in, and 4 of them, because I had the other gal with me, 4 of them are in the room, and they're all fighting, and they're all fighting like cats and dogs, and I was
mm,
like I walked in, and I'm like and they all kinda, like, turned, and they looked at us, and then they turned back, and they just kept going at it, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I was like, "Alright, like, time out. Don't know what happened, just walked in here, but all of you go." Like, go figure something out. Like, get out
mm,
of each other's hair, whatever. So one
mhm,
of them was like, I'm going to the pool. The other one's like, I'm going for a walk. Like, so they all scattered, right? And so they were gone like 20 minutes. And my girlfriend and I are in the room there and we're like, what the hell was that about? Like, we all get along so good. She's
mhm,
like, yeah, I don't know. So I text them all after. I'm like, everybody good? And they're all like, yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we're good. I'm like, all right, something's up already. Like, I don't understand. So we go do the first little part of our event that night and we come back to the room and we all have to get settled in. So we basically like flipped a coin who's getting the floor the first night. So I ended up getting the floor, like I was one of the ones that got the floor, which I didn't care. And so we set up the 2 of us that had to sleep on the floor, we set up at the ends of the beds so we wouldn't get trampled on if anybody had to go to the bathroom or anything else. So we all get in bed, we all get cozy, and the lights go out and I'm laying there, and this is in the summertime, so it's not cold out. It's not the air conditioning's not even going really crazy because it's an old place. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden, it's like air conditioning is blowing up on me, like over my body. I know you
yeah,
can feel it already,
I can already feel it. It's going up my back. Woof. Yes.
like all the way down my body, all the way down my body. 10
Yeah.
minutes, and I was like, I'm like, are you guys still awake? And everybody's like, yeah. I'm like, does anybody else feel the air
I
conditioner?
don't know.
And they're all like, "What are you talking about? It's actually pretty hot in here." I'm like, "Not down here, it's not." I'm like, "What the heck?" So I, at this point, had turned a lot of that off, and I didn't associate that it was spirit at the time.
Mm,
So I'm
mhm,
like, well, I'm like, "Sorry, everybody, I'm gonna have to turn the light on because I need to go get an extra blanket out of the closet." So I go to open the closet. So this closet is like an 1800s closet. So it's got like the old crystal doorknob on it. It's
okay.
like 40 friggin' pounds. So I open this closet door and I flick the light on inside. And I go to reach up, and this door goes poof and hits me in the back. And I'm like, "Oh, hell no." I'm like, "No, no." So I grab this blanket and I'm like, I'm trying now I'm ignoring it, even though everything in me is screaming, "Get the fuck out of this room."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, "It's fine. No problem." So I get this blanket on me and I lay back down and it's still just like it's as if I'm in a tunnel of air conditioning.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "All right, I need to go to sleep." So I force myself to go to sleep and I go to sleep and I start dreaming. And in this dream, I'm in this room, sitting up straight and something is sucking the soul out of my mouth. I'm sitting up, my mouth is wide open, and something is sucking the soul out of me, and I am doing everything in my damnedest in this dream to not let it happen, to try to
Oh,
come out of it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so I had rolled over a few times in between all of that, and I remember, like, at one point in time, I had rolled over, and my bicep was really sore. I'm like, "Well, that's" in my like, in your sleep state, you're like, "Well, that's weird, but
Mhm.
whatever."
Mhm.
Right? So I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I looked around. It was still really dark. Checked the time. It was like 5 a.m. I'm like, well, I'm getting a shower before the other five have to go get a shower. I'm gonna get up real
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
So I sat up and one of the gals on the bed, she says, "Cece, you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" She says, "You were sitting up half of the night with your mouth open, and I
Oh.
couldn't get you to wake up." And I was like, "Pardon me?" I'm like, "What?" She's like,
Oh.
"Yeah, it was the creepiest thing." She said, "I've been watching you for the last 2 hours." I'm
Oh.
like, "Alrighty then." So I didn't say anything to her because I didn't the one lady I came with, she was a psychic. She could see spirit, she could hear spirit. She was very good at what she did.
Mhm.
And like I said, I hadn't honed into any of that yet until this weekend. So I go to the bathroom to go have a shower and I get undressed. And on this bicep, I have a welt on my bicep as if someone literally either took an elbow or a knuckles and just went slam and slammed it. I mean, it was welted, it was bruised, it was red, it hurt like the dickens.
Wow.
So, sorry, my speaker here keeps falling. You can still hear me okay?
Yeah.
So, um, so I'm like, I'm trying to like reconcile that this is all normal, like
Mhm.
trying not to think of what all this means. And then I get out of the shower and I was looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh, fuck, there's something with this room. There's
Mhm.
something in this room. I'm like,
Mhm.
how can there not be with what's
Mhm.
going on? So I get out and everybody's starting to wake up. So I ask everybody, I'm like, did anybody else have weird dreams? Like, did anybody walk by me and kick me? Like, and everybody's like, no, like nobody got up last night. And they're like, "Why?" So I showed them the welt and they're all like, "What the heck?" So a few more of them get up to get ready and stuff like that. And then the energy in the room, everyone starts getting really angry again and really like at each other. And I was like, "All right, I'm out." Out. So the gal I came with, she left with me and we got into the hall and I said, "What is your take on that room?" She's like, "There is something dark in there." She's like, "There is
Mhm.
something dark in there." So I told her what happened. And she's like, "Oh my god." And I said "I'm so freaked out that I can't even go back to bless this room." I'm like, "Are you okay to go back and bless the room later?" I'm like, "Because we still have another night here." I'm like, "Right now, I don't even wanna I'll go sleep on the couch in the like, in the lounge, right?"
Yeah.
She's like, "No, I'll go back and do it." So she went back later and she blessed the whole entire room. She did a blessing on the whole entire room, and we came up later, and the energy was much clearer, and it was okay, and I felt good. But everywhere I went in that hotel, I felt like I was followed.
Mhm.
And everything just all weekend was like, "Just leave, like, just go. You're not meant to be here. Just go, just go, just go." So that weekend for me sealed everything in my abilities, my intuition, my knowing, like everything was sealed in that weekend for me. And I walked out of that place. I did end up leaving early, like a half a day early because I was just like, I have to go. Like I
Yeah.
have to get the hell out of here. And Yeah, so that was I mean, that was probably about 6 years ago, but that's when everything woke up for me, like, everything, and I did see spirit in there a couple of times in between that. I saw an old maid from, like a 1960s outfit old maid that I thought was a maid in the hallway, and when I came back out of my room, nothing was there.
Wow.
So, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but that's when my intuition really kicked in, and I started to really pay attention, like, in a the most sincere way that I could.
I
Thanks.
2 things I'm literally mind blown. What I learned today is that this kind of knock, 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 where you need to wake up, um, happened. Like, even though those kinds of crazy situations that I was talking about earlier with my knowing and predicting and phone calls and, all of that,
Yeah.
um, they were so separate and I kept them so compartmentalized that I didn't see the underlying, intuition or, in fact, I went the complete opposite way and even pulled myself even more away from the spiritual part of it. Um,
Crazy.
but 6 years ago, you said, which is when
Mhm.
right before COVID, for me, it was that glaring, smack up against the wall. You can't deny this anymore. Let's start digging into this. So that's interesting that you and I
That
have the
is
same. I didn't know
but
that
not
about you.
shocking,
No, it's not. But I didn't know that. So that's the first
right?
takeaway. And the
Yeah.
second takeaway is that um, I love hearing about all the ways that you um, use your intuition. Like, you're clairvoyant, you see dead people, passed
I
over
do.
spirits,
Yes.
apparitions, whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
What other ways do you know or follow your intuition? So you see things, you're clairvoyant. What else?
Yeah. I'm clairvoyant, I'm claircognizant, so I've got the knowing.
Hmm.
That happens more often than not.
Hmm.
It's which is just that that one's the hard to describe. That's like that niggle of you just know. When you
Just
know,
know.
you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you just can't deny it. I also have clairaudience. So I hear in multiple different ways. So um I hear spirit like audibly in
Hmm.
my home or
Hmm.
wherever I'm at. And then like I hear. I don't know how to describe that's a
Yeah.
hard one to describe too, right?
Yeah.
You just hear, right? It's like when you do your
Yeah.
mediumship, you hear, but you
Yeah.
can't I don't know how you explain that.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Yeah, you just hear things,
right?
whether it's in from your
Yeah.
mind or from the outside, or you look around because you did actually hear something, right? The
Yes.
vibration of sound is somehow
Yes.
moving to the inner part of your ear, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And do
It
you ever feel it?
I feel it. I smell often. I have smell things that aren't there very often.
Yeah, like
Um
cigarette smoke, eh?
Yeah,
Yes.
cigarette
Pipes?
smoke is a
Yeah.
huge one.
Yeah.
Perfume or cologne that's not there is
Mhm.
really big, so
Mhm.
I know immediately if something comes close that is not there.
Mhm.
Well, there, but not there.
Yeah,
So, like, there's, like, a multitude of different ways that it happens for me, and
which is the
it's
strongest.
been growing and growing and growing. So it wasn't always like that, it was
Yeah.
actually just, like, one thing at a time type deal,
Right.
like I
Right.
said, but that weekend was literally everything.
Everything. What
Yeah.
did it start with? What was the strongest? What's your strongest and which one did you start with?
I wanna say probably the knowing, like,
Mm.
right? I think the knowing, the claircognizance was the biggest probably my whole life
Mhm.
was the knowing. Like,
Mhm.
I knew I was speaking to the trees and they were speaking back. I knew I was speaking to the grass and the grass was speaking back. Like, I knew.
Yeah.
There's no other way around it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love.
What about you?
Yeah, I think mine is the knowing too. I think when I think of intuition, I think that's that just knowing. Whether this is
It
a woman,
is.
we say women's intuition, like we know, but I think it's human actually, because that's
It
what
is
I'm
I
gonna.
think it's human too. Yeah.
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 I think I just know things. And so that's that. I don't think I do know things.
You do
And
know.
yeah, I do. And so, and I was very, very fearful of allowing the other Claires to grow
Yeah.
until Spirit was like, guess what? Time to get uncomfortable.
You don't have a
Here you
chance.
go."
Right? There's no
And I
choice.
literally, I would be like, "I said that's a boundary that," and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna push the boundaries."
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
yeah, and so I would say, and it's like, it's just, and I think my daughter has the same thing, so much so that it's hard sometimes to differentiate. Is this actually mine? Are
Oh,
these feelings mine? Is these thoughts mine? Is this, yes, we can get into the ego versus soul, but I think it for me, I've moved and I'm able to see the separation of those two. Now it's trying to teach my daughter, are those your actual thoughts, or did somebody or something come to visit, and this is now what you're feeling or thinking, because it's like a
yeah.
download, and that's what I call them, downloads into my brain. So they came
100%.
from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, is it mine? I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
I don't.
know. And you probably get the same, like, I'll give an example because maybe this will spark something for one of our viewers. And I mean, we're at 30 minutes, so if our viewers can think on it, have you, like, for me, I often feel like I'll get body aches or body pains or
Yes.
something that I'm like, and I do that. I'm like, is this mine or is this not mine?
Hmm.
And then I will always fall into trust of whatever I hear. And it's honestly, it's usually it's not mine. So
Hmm.
then I always sit and I ask it to go back to sender because I I'm like, I keep my space sovereign, right? I mean, I must have let something come through, but I don't want it no more. Send it back. Like,
Yeah.
it's not mine. Send it back. So does that happen to you too?
It does, but I've been getting better because I wasn't very good at it, and I know that I would be really tired, and I wouldn't understand why. And
Mm.
so I have done a lot of, like, I visualize I have a saber, because of course I'm like a Jedi Knight in
Yeah,
my
I
head.
love that.
A
I
very
love it.
feminine goddess, and I, like,
Yes, you
channel the
are.
energy, and I'm like, and I swirl it around,
Yeah.
because yes, because I'm like, "I take your shit back. I
Yeah.
I will deal. I've got enough of my own shit to deal with."
Amen to that. Yes, so
Yeah.
true.
Well,
So,
and
so
that's
true.
asking for protection, and things that I've had to learn, like going into big crowds, like an arena. My kid, where I have to ask for protection, because, and I
Mm.
do think this is from growing up. I do think this is part of where I can differentiate. I know that I'm constantly scanning, right? I know my nervous system is very much looking for
On
danger.
alert.
I'm on alert at all times. And that's a trauma response. And I know the difference, but I'm also very cognizant of stepping into a room and knowing if two people are arguing, even though it seems like they're smiling and lovely and having the greatest time of their life. I'm like, that energy is bullshit. And
Yes,
so I can
100%.
feel that, I can feel the stagnant, or that it feels like liquid, like honey that I can walk into, and I can feel the energy too, right? So,
I love that. Yeah.
yeah, so I have to make sure, like, I always ask every night and every morning, just to make sure that I protect myself in a bubble, and I
Yes.
visualize a bubble, and then I ask for whatever kind of stuck to me to be removed. I
Yeah.
try to remember each night, and if I forget, I feel it. I feel that.
100,
Hold
I'm
on.
with you 100%. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Samesies.
Do you think everybody has the ability, like we just said, women's intuition, but do you agree that
I
everybody has
do.
intuition? Mhm.
Yeah, I absolutely do. My son and Chris both have it.
Mhm.
Yeah, their intuition is high. Yeah, for men,
Yes.
for being men. Yeah. There's many times that Chris has said something and I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Mhm.
And sure as shit, he was right. That man probably out of all husbands has heard, "You were right," more than any other husband because it's I because I wanna foster his intuition, like, his
Yes.
intuition is so good.
And well, that's the thing. If we know that we're made of yin and yang, right? Feminine,
Mhm.
masculine. then
Yes.
men have literally half of them is, their left side, right? Left is
Yeah.
feminine, right? Then we
Yes.
know that they do have that in their body. And so um
Absolutely.
when I think to the misconceptions of intuition and being psychic and allowing, this these gifts to start playing a
Yeah.
bigger role, which you and I have 6 years ago, shockingly, right?
I know. So
What do
crazy.
you think your biggest, like, why did it take so long for us to allow us to lean into it rather than kind of fight it? I know obviously we didn't have the nurturing that maybe our children are lucky enough to have.
Yeah, they are
Um,
lucky.
yeah, but, like, what do you think one of the biggest misconceptions? Because 'cause I've been trying to figure out, like, why. And I actually, like, really, I think I've shared this before, I was, like, atheist at one point, like, I didn't believe
Yeah.
anything in a higher source or a higher power. So when I leaned into it,
Why? Yeah.
I was really worried about telling people this, like, you're crazy, you're woo woo. This is the intuition or insanity. I'm like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go
Right?
with it,
Well,
right?
it's the mystic and the misfit, literally.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes,
it's
yes, yes.
right? We spent many years in the stage of where most misfits spend it, where you
Mm,
know you're different. You feel you're different,
mm,
but whatever life circumstance is, and whoever is listening to this, I hope this makes you feel better, but you're not behind. And if you haven't developed the stuff, and oh, I just got body chills, you're not
mhm.
behind,
Yeah,
right? Because this stuff comes in when I think it is absolutely supposed to come in.
yeah.
I think we play with it our entire life in different scenarios, but we also came here, with an Akashic records full of lessons and things that we also needed to figure out too.
Mhm,
Because
mhm,
with all this mystic stuff, we're still very human. Like we're still very three-dimensional beings that have a lot of other stuff going on.
mhm,
And that other stuff gets in the way for most of us for a very long time. So if you haven't developed any of this, you have it. Your time will be your time.
mhm,
And maybe this is the sign that it's your time.
mhm.
Right? But I
Exactly.
don't I don't think there's a wrong answer to it. I don't think it's anything that we did wrong. I think it's just life happened,
Well,
right?
and that's that moment of, meeting the right person,
Yeah.
that helped me develop it, and at the right time, that's divine, right?
Yeah,
Meeting people like you who then nurture and foster, and you're able to communicate, like, the one thing I think my biggest takeaway is that this is not supernatural. This is actually natural. And so
so natural.
yeah, and so coming back to self is the way that I view it now. So how can anything be wrong with me? It's part of who I am, and so this is part of the midlife part is the
Yes.
here I am.
Exactly. Here
This
I
is
am.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
unapologetically me.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I knew
yes.
I knew I truly made it when Chris said something about um like you're such a good witch at blah 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 and I was like,
Thank you,
"Did
baby.
what? Thank you." Whoa, that's like the best recognition ever.
Yeah.
You finally get it because there was a period
Well,
of time where, I mean, and he was very intuitive at a young age, and he had fostering in that. So his aunts and his grandmas and like they were all very like woo woo witchy,
okay.
and then he turned that off at a certain point, probably like most boys do,
Yeah.
and my allowing mine to come back allowed him to really start to lean in and trust
Mm,
again the things that
mm,
because he gets smells around him and he's like, don't you smell that? And I'm like, nope, ask who it is because there's probably someone there for you,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
So like yeah, it's but it all comes at the right time.
It does. And so just, I guess, trusting self, trusting the gut. And yes, that's the feeling of, what is ego and the looping and the negative thoughts.
Yeah,
Uh,
here's how I differentiate that.
yes.
um The knowing you get out of intuition is not something your ego normally will make up or could make up.
Mhm, mm.
Does that make sense?
It
Your
does.
ego your ego likes to play with you in a lot of various ways. But most of the intuitional stuff, if you think back on it, your ego couldn't have made that stuff up.
Mm, I love
Because
that.
why would it? Why would your ego tell you, "Don't go do that?"
Yeah.
Right? It
Yeah.
just wouldn't. It wouldn't. I mean, it likes to keep you safe, but not in that way,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and for me, it's that hell yes, hell no energy. So
Mm.
I have learned to trust if somebody says, "Hey, do you want to?" And my instant reaction is, "Oh God, no." And then you talk yourself out of it. You're like, "Oh, but I
I
really
know.
should." And
Fine, I'll
yeah,
go.
I haven't been with this group of friends. They're gonna not like start not asking me to go out with them. But
Yeah.
or the vice versa, right? Oh my God, yes. And then, okay, but I shouldn't because I don't think I'm going to have enough money or I won't have the time. And yeah.
Yes.
So it's that hell. It's that I try to stick with my first gut before the ego gets in the way and you
I
start
know.
overthinking. Yeah.
But that's when we ignore that. That's when the all the shit goes like it goes chaos and we pay
Yeah.
for it. Like
Right.
like I said, how many times I've ended up sick because I haven't listened to what my
Right.
intuition said. Like,
Right.
there's so many times that, yeah, I've done hikes in the cold. Like, my lungs do not like Alberta cold air.
Uh
They don't
huh.
like cold in general. They never have. But there's so many times that I've gone on hikes with friends and stuff, and in like the dead of winter, and like screaming at me, "Don't go do it! Don't do it!" And then I'm like, I'm sick forever after that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, I didn't listen again.
Yeah. So let's ask our audience. Um, have there been moments where your intuition has been screaming at you and maybe like trying to get your attention? And if so, have you listened to it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have you listened to it?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what is your intuition currently trying to tell you?
Ooh. Yeah. So our job is continue to stay curious, continue to stay intuitive, and really just focus on if you are feeling like a misfit, then you're probably in the right place,
You're
doing the right.
probably in the right place. Yes,
Yeah.
you are. Well, you're in the
Yeah.
right place here with us. That's for darn sure.
That's for darn sure. Oh my gosh. Well, it was
Yes.
such a great conversation. I learned
Such a great conversation.
so many new things about you.
Right. But well, you too as well. This was so good. I can't wait to hear from our audience. If you haven't subscribed, go subscribe, smash the like button, share this out for all the other midlife mystics and misfits out there, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. Bye, babe.
Bye, hun.